Economic shockwaves and trade tensions hit North America. Washington. In a dramatic escalation of regional trade policy, the United States administration has officially announced sweeping 50% tariffs on a vast array of Canadian imports. The new trade measures target key industries, including automotive vehicles, dairy products, alcoholic beverages, and structural aluminum. Citing long-standing concerns over trade imbalances and alleged regulatory discrimination against U.S. commerce, executive proclamations issued from the White House mark one of the most aggressive shifts in North American trade relations in recent history. The policy announcement sent immediate shockwaves through commodity markets, automotive supply chains, and agricultural sectors across both nations. With cross-border trade heavily integrated under regional agreements, economic analysts warned that the new duties could trigger widespread price increases for consumers and severe disruptions for manufacturers reliant on Canadian raw materials and components. The target sectors: autos, agriculture, and metals. The scope of the newly announced tariffs covers major pillars of cross-border commerce. Automotive sector. Vehicle manufacturing is among the hardest hit. Modern auto assembly in North America relies on parts moving across the U.S.-Canada border multiple times during production. Under the new directive, finished vehicles and critical auto components imported from Canada face a steep 50% duty, raising immediate concerns over rising vehicle costs for American buyers. Dairy and agriculture. Long a point of contention between Washington and Ottawa, Canada's dairy protection policies were specifically cited in executive documentation. The administration imposed retaliatory duties on Canadian specialty cheeses, milk solids, and agricultural exports, arguing that Canadian pricing structures unfairly lock out American farmers. Alcoholic beverages and aluminum. Additional duties were slapped on Canadian spirits and beer, alongside structural adjustments to aluminum import quotas. Aluminum is a critical baseline material for U.S. aerospace, construction, and beverage packaging industries. Economic impact and consumer inflation risks. Economists and industry advocacy groups expressed immediate concern regarding the potential ripple effects on domestic prices and inflation. While the administration frames the policy as an essential tool to safeguard domestic manufacturing and force fair trade terms, analysts caution that end consumers will likely bear the cost. Modern North American manufacturing operates as a single interconnected ecosystem, stated Dr. Ellen Vance, senior fellow at the International Trade and Policy Institute. When you place a 50% barrier on intermediate inputs like aluminum or automotive parts, that added cost doesn't disappear into thin air. It cascades down to dealerships, construction projects, grocery stores, and ultimately the everyday consumer. Small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, across border states in the Midwest and Northeast reported instant uncertainty. Supply chain managers and logistics operators along major trade corridors, such as the Ambassador Bridge linking Detroit and Windsor, are bracing for emergency contract renegotiations and potential shipment delays as freight companies evaluate the new tax enforcement frameworks. Political fallout and global reaction. The announcement drew swift and sharp pushback from Canadian leadership. Government officials in Ottawa condemned the tariffs as unjustified, asserting that Canadian trade policies fully comply with international law. Canadian trade representatives indicated that retaliatory tariffs targeting high-value U.S. exports are currently being finalized, sparking fears of a prolonged tit-for-tat trade struggle between the two economic partners. On Capitol Hill, political reaction reflected deep divisions. Supporters of the measure applauded the decisive stance, maintaining that strict trade enforcement is necessary to eliminate trade barriers that disadvantage American workers and agricultural producers. Critics, including lawmakers representing border states and agricultural hubs, warned that unilateral tariffs put American export markets at risk of immediate retaliation, which could hurt U.S. farmers and industrial workers. What lies ahead? As financial markets digest the executive action, currency markets reacted swiftly, with the Canadian dollar experiencing a sharp decline against the U.S. dollar. Trade attorneys and industry groups are already preparing legal challenges under international trade provisions. With trade negotiations between Washington and Ottawa expected to reach a critical juncture in the coming weeks, business leaders across North America are urging both governments to reopen dialogue before the full weight of the tariffs impact the broader economy.